Welcome to Diagnose This, where future doctors come to think differently so you don't miss what others did. In this series, you'll explore real patient cases that stumped even experienced physicians. As you watch, focus on how the patient is described. Remember, on your exams, you won't see the patient, you'll read the vignette. So train your mind to visualize, connect the dots, and think clinically. Grab your notes, sharpen your instincts, and let's see if you can diagnose this.
Mommy's ready to be a mom again.
In 1996, the Murphy family was excited by the prospect of a new baby.
What should we call the girl if it's a girl?
Catherine.
We ended up having this adorable little baby boy, Eamon, and he was born July 2nd, 96.
Charles
Eamon
Murphy. And he's our little baby.
Everyone in my family thought it was going to be a girl, but Eamon obviously didn't come out as a girl.
Oh, you're a beautiful little boy.
Someone once remarked that our kids look like they come from the same catalog, and Eamon fit right in there with them.
But 3 months later, Lisa noticed something was wrong with Eamon.
At that age, babies, their eyes typically track, and he wasn't. And I remember just being hysterical because I thought, you know what, I don't think he can see. So I took him to a doctor, and I remember while the physician was doing all these little eye tests with him, he accidentally dropped one of his instruments, and it hit the metal chair and made this unbelievable loud sound. And Eamon never flinched. And he kind of joked with me. He said, "Are you really here for his eyes, or do you think maybe his hearing? Maybe he can't hear?"
Lisa was upset, but I wasn't that concerned about his health. I feel every kid is different. Every kid develops differently.
Eamon's hearing was eventually tested, and the results were normal.
I was happy to hear that, but I thought, you know what? I really want an answer. I'm going to find out. There's got to be something. There's something more than, more to this than meets the eye.
Frustrated with Eamon's doctors, Lisa began to look elsewhere for help.
My sister-in-law, Marjorie, is a physical therapist, and she would have discussions with my wife, Lisa, and they would talk about, where Eamon is and where he should be.
I really noticed that there were problems when Eamon was a year at his first birthday party. And Lisa had said to me, when he's eating the solid food, he wasn't chewing well.
He would cram all of the cupcake in his mouth, but it would get so packed. I mean, he would just pack it, and then he wouldn't chew, and then he would end up, he'd open his mouth, and half of it would fall out again.
And there was kind of a deadness to the area around his lips and inside his mouth that we definitely took note of.
For the next year and a half, Eamon kept missing developmental milestones. He was slow to walk and talk.
We realized he definitely was not where he should be. We were looking for an answer, and we weren't getting it.
I mean, it's just a crucial time. It's those first 3 years, as far as developmentally, it's the most important years.
Eamon turned 3 in 1999, and despite his setbacks, it was now time for him to start nursery school.
When all my other kids went off to nursery school, it was such a joyful time, and it was fun, and it was happy.
And when he went into school, it was tough because we saw really how far behind he was, and it became more apparent to both Lisa and I.
He should have been able to do whatever me, my brother, and my sister did, but I guess I just knew that he wouldn't have that opportunity. He would have to work even harder than we did to fit in normally.
The first several months, half the year, we didn't see much improvement in Eamon.
Eamon's developmental problems had Lisa scared, but then she noticed something new that absolutely terrified her.
When Eamon was 3.5, I noticed he'd be playing in the family room, and then he would be in the middle of like a little make-believe game, with his little soldiers or whatever, and he would stop and his eyes would kind of glaze over, his mouth would move, but he wouldn't be saying anything.
He would kind of rock back and forth and make this sound from the back of his throat. He was spacing out, basically.
You could go up in front of him and wave your hand at him, and he was not really responding. And it was almost like he was having a conversation with himself.
I was the one who probably saw most of these episodes. You know, I'd tell the doctors they never witnessed anything. And I remember my sister-in-law Marjorie saying,
"Why don't you videotape it? This way you have it documented what's going on and let the doctors look at it."
A week later, the whole family was driving in the car, and Lisa was ready.
All of a sudden, I hear this clicking noise in the back seat. So I thought, this is my chance. I turned around and I started filming Eamon from the back seat.
He was looking out the window, and his mouth was moving, and his eyes had a kind of a vacant look.
And I'm talking to him, calling his name, and I actually had to reach over and pat his knee. And then all of a sudden, he snaps to, he kind of looks in my direction, and then he gives this big smile for the camera.
Are you okay?
I watched the tape, and it was distressing. That was the first time I had really seen it, and shook me up.
Eamon Murphy was an adorable 3-year-old with a loving family. But despite all the attention, Eamon was in a downward spiral. At 1, he had problems eating. At 2, he wasn't talking. And now he's having trance-like episodes that no one can explain.
These things are getting worse and worse. I'm kind of at my wit's end. This is it. I really need to find out what's going on with them.
Armed with a videotape of Eamon's episodes, Lisa visited a pediatric neurologist.
He was looking at the tapes and looking at his records, and he felt that Eamon may have some type of seizure disorder.
We ran a few tests, and he said, I think, you know, they're partial complex seizures, and I think that we should put him on some anti-seizure medication.
But many seizure medications are powerful drugs with serious side effects.
And I thought, you know, should I be giving him this medication? I mean, this would have been like the easy way out. Just start him on the medication and see what happens and hope for the best. But I just didn't feel good about it.
She just had a gut feeling that, you know, we're not going to medicate Eamon until we really know what's causing these seizures.
After 4 years of searching, Lisa still didn't feel any closer to the truth, but she kept on looking for clues.
I read this article on parents putting their children on gluten-free and casein-free diets.
This rang a bell. Lisa herself was on a gluten-free diet because she had been diagnosed with something called celiac disease.
Basically, it's the inability to digest gluten. Gluten is a protein that's found in wheat, rye, barley, and oats.
She was addicted to pretzels and cornflakes, and she would eat them all the time. But she was getting really, really thin, and she was getting really sick.
When I was diagnosed with celiac disease, that was the first question to my doctor. I said, what about my children? And I remember my doctor just kind of laughing and saying, oh, forget it. You know, celiac disease is so rare. Your kids, and even if your kids do get it, you'll know immediately because they'll have the exact same GI symptoms that you've experienced.
Eamon had none of the digestion problems that Lisa suffered from, so the idea that they might share the same disease seemed far-fetched. But then Lisa learned some shocking news.
I attended a Westchester Celiac Support Group meeting. Dr. Peter Green was going to be speaking, and I was very, very interested in what he had to say on celiac disease.
Physicians in this country, at least, are taught that celiac disease is a rare condition. It's actually very common. It occurs in about 1% of the population, and it actually occurs in families.
Peter Green kept stressing how important it was to have all first-degree relatives tested. I remember just freezing in my seat thinking, it's genetic?
Desperate for answers, Lisa approached Dr. Green and asked him what she should do.
She was totally unaware that it there could be an impact of this on her family. We were running a family screening study looking at at-risk individuals.
I was immediately of the opinion, when can we do it? Let's do it now.
So we drew blood on Lisa's children as part of this study.
In celiac disease, gluten destroys the tiny finger-like protrusions in the small intestine called villi that help the body absorb nutrients. Sufferers usually experience stomach aches and other GI symptoms, not the strange trances that have been plaguing Eamon. Still, Lisa began to wonder, could malnutrition be at the root of Eamon's problems?
I'm kind of on pins and needles because I just don't really know what's in store for him and what's going to happen.
3 weeks after their meeting, Dr. Green completed the first set of tests.
Eamon's results were very high, indicating that it was virtually 100% chance that he had celiac disease.
An endoscopy confirmed the diagnosis.
And I remember just hugging Bob, and I started to cry, of course. And I thought, thank God, this is over with. It's done. This is it. We finally solved the mystery.
Looking back, Lisa was horrified by the cost of her ignorance.
You know, as a mom, you want to give your kids the best nutritional foods available. And I remember giving Eamon whole grains and cereals, and it's just, in essence, I was actually poisoning Eamon. I was giving him poison.
After the diagnosis, Lisa quickly placed Eamon on a diet free of wheat and all other gluten-filled foods. It was a huge life change, but the results were striking.
It's getting harder and harder in this day and age to take wheat out of what you eat because they tend to put it in many things. But you know, it's a condition that you actually don't need to take any medication for and has the potential to totally reverse with changing your diet.
After Eamon went on a gluten-free diet, the seizures stopped almost immediately.
He just came to life. His eyes sparkled, he was alert. It was incredible.
If he hadn't got a diagnosis of celiac disease, it's easy to imagine that he could have progressed rapidly even further. So 4 years later, one would think that he just might become totally incapacitated.
Picture eating food and not absorbing any of the vitamins. And that's what this does. So the potential is limitless in terms of what it could do to him.
At a critical point in his development, celiac had robbed Eamon's brain of nutrients, causing cognitive delays and seizures. But why had it taken 4 years to get diagnosed?
Eamon had an atypical presentation. Typically, celiac disease, the way it's taught, is that it's a diarrhea-predominant illness.
There's no, bloated stomach, no distended abdomen, nothing.
His clinical presentation didn't trigger any connection to the disease.
It's so underdiagnosed, I can't even begin. You feel like just screaming sometimes.
Eamon is 8 today, and he's absolutely fabulous. He's so cute, and he's so spunky.
No one would look at Eamon and say there's anything different about him than any other 8-year-old.
He's getting hundreds on his math tests and spelling tests every week without fail.
He's doing great.
No one knows your child better than you do. I mean, a physician, they know the diseases, they know how to prescribe medicines, but they really also have to listen to what the mother's saying about a child. They have to put, it's like a puzzle, they have to put all the pieces together.
All right, how did you do? Drop a comment below and let us know. At what point did you first suspect the diagnosis? What were the key clues that tipped you off? If you didn't get it, don't worry. Even experienced physicians have missed these rare or tricky cases. Although they missed it, you won't. This is where future doctors come to think differently. If you need help to build strong, personalized systems for USMLE success, check out USMLE StepMate. We've got the structure, support, and strategy you need to turn clinical clues into exam confidence. Like and be sure to subscribe if you'd like more content like this.